welcome to On The Palate. We're at you again today. You know, I'm your boy Josh. I'm here with my main man, Kev, in the building. We got a special one for you today. We're so glad you guys could be with us. This is our first interview. So we're very excited about this. And I think we picked a really good product. This is Fior Scotch, and it is Black owned and veteran owned. And we're here with the owner, Eric.
How's it going?
Hey, everyone. So glad for you to be here, sir. We appreciate you. Let's start off with what I'd like to get a little background on him,
Okay.
and his veteran status and how he decided to start.
Start
So
the
let's start
business.
with that, Eric. How did you? What's a little bit of your background, and how did you decide to pick Scotch?
All right. Well, Eric Peter Dominijanni. And I like to let people don't let the tan fool you. My last name ends in a vowel. You know, I'm actually half black, half Italian from New York City. Actually, half Haitian, half Italian. I'm from New York City, born and raised in Forest Hills, Queens, and I've been basically cooking my whole life. It's something. It's the Italian in me, I guess. It's I was born in the kitchen, probably conceived on the dance floor, or something along those lines. But I've always had a passion for cooking. A lot of people don't know this, but many years ago, I went up against Bobby Flay on Throwdown, Bobby Flay, and actually won. So after college, I joined the Marine Corps. I became a salt amphibian officer. For those who don't speak military jargon, that is like amphibious mechanized infantry. 3 tours in Iraq, short one. I've been to Okinawa, I've been to Afghanistan, et cetera, and worked all throughout the Caribbean for quite a few years in my illustrious career, if you will. But after I retired from the Marine Corps, actually, if I give you the full story, prior to me retiring from the Marine Corps, I was already stationed in Miami, and I just knew everything about rum. I worked all throughout the islands, man. I worked in Jamaica, Antigua. I worked on every island that you could imagine, and I had this thirst for rum, if you will. And they stationed in between, combat deployments. I go to 29 Palms, which is the middle of the desert in California. It's like 120 degrees. There's nothing to eat. There's nothing to do. It's just sand, fast. The nicest restaurants is like, fast food joint. And I used to go down to LA quite often. My best friends were there. My brother was living down there. Quite a few friends, family, etc., who would live over there. And I just go over there to escape from the heat. And if you've ever been around the military base, there's always like that nice little problem of, you just want to, you're not going to get anything good out there. They just have to be better than what the base provides. So, you ask for a cheeseburger with no mayo, they give you a hot dog with mayo. You're like, look, at least it's a meat product. Can I have a haircut that's not crooked this time? You're kind of like, your expectations get really, really low. But when you leave, I expect what I pay for. So we were in LA, and we were at this bar. I think it was called Bordner's. And this guy comes up and he asks all my friends, hey, you guys service, you guys in the service, you guys in the military. One guy he'd gotten out. I'm the only one still active. And they point, no, he's a Marine. He's a tough guy. He's still in it. The guy's like, can I buy you a drink? And I was like, sure, I got no problem. And at first, I know it's a funny story, but I thought he was hitting on me. And I'm a good looking guy. Cut me some slack, And the next thing you know, it's like I took a shot with him and it was so horrible. I can't remember what he got me. I always forget the drink, but it just tasted like battery acid. It put me in the worst. It was Malort, I think. I think it was Malort. And it put me in the worst mood I could ever imagine. And I'm just angry. And my friends are like, dude, calm down. It's like, look, we're going to drive today. And I didn't really drink back then, so I was always the designated driver. So we drive around, and I'm just like, I can't get a good haircut. I can't get a good food. I'm going to be going to Afghanistan soon. For the love of God, can't digest it. And I'm like, dude, calm down. So we get to this bar, and I ask for rum. And this is California, not a rum city, not a rum state. And I was like, what do you got for rum? And he just had like generic off the shelf, if you will, rum. And I'm like, don't you have anything else? And he's like, hey man, he points up, this is a Scotch bar. I'm like, a Scotch bar? Yeah, Scotch whiskey bar. And I look up and it's all these Scotches and whiskeys. And I was like, whoa. So I go, teach me. was like, what do you mean? He's like, yo, teach me. I'm an aspiring chef. You know, I know rum, but I don't know anything about whiskeys or scotches. You know, can you teach me? And he's like, yeah, sure, I guess so. And just don't rip me off. So he gives me this like omakase, if you will, omakase of whiskeys and scotches. And he tells me like, you need to have this with club soda, this with water. You know, you need to have this, try it this way. This is from this region. This is a Highland. This is a Speyside. And I caught the bug. After that, I get back home and my rum collection disappears and it gets replaced with scotch. And I wanted to know everything about scotch. It's the new drink, you know. And so you have to understand, I make my own, as a chef, I make my own ice cream, I make my own sausage, I make my own salami, I make my own wine, I make my own beer. So just an inevitability, I was going to try to make my own household blend. So after a couple of years of dabbling into scotches and whiskeys, I tried to make a household blend, 2 failed attempts. I'm going to give you the quick story. 2 failed attempts. And because I was working with more of the extreme scotches, if you will, in flavor. And I wound up concentrating on some more mellow flavors. And I started working with an infinity bottle or a legacy bottle, if you will. Yep. And that's what you take, you know, as for those people who don't know, you take like some of your scotches and, you know, you're like, you know, I'm going to put 3 fingers of this one if it had more, you know, and then, you know, add it. And then a legacy bottle is usually for people like me. An infinity bottle is usually people in the industry where they have gallons and they get bottles and pull bottles and they just mix it randomly and they go, hey, I hit it. And then they just give them out and they start all over. Mine was different. And I didn't use the choicest of all or the highest end of all the scotches. I just, you know, this one is kind of bland. You know, it's not it was bland, it wasn't bad. It just was kind of plain. But I really, you know, and I would put 4 fingers, you know, mark it off. And then later on, it would be something along the lines of, you know, I really wish it had more smoke. Oh, this one's too smoky. Ooh. So maybe 2 fingers in that will be good, you know? And then later on, I wish it was sweeter. And I'd put inside and then I hit it. And I had my Marines over and they loved it. We were smoking cigars in the back and they absolutely loved it. And unfortunately, the jar keeps getting smaller, smaller, and smaller. And I'm like, this is it. This is what I want. So I'm like, you know, there's got to be a way to duplicate this. And you have to understand on my Italian side of my family, I got my Uncle Luciano. He calls up California and he's like, hey, you know, let me get I want a 25% of this and a 22% of this and a 30%. And they send him like X amount of cases and it's great. And my old boss, Colonel Bolaño, he makes his own cigars. He calls up and he says, I want this gauge, this length, this fill, this wrapper. And they send, you know, X amount of boxes. So there's got to be a way to do it with scotch, but I don't know. I could cook. I don't know much about the liquor industry. But luckily, I have a friend named Jim Landis that I went to college with who used to own Hypnotic. And,
awesome.
And he's been in...
You say Hypnotic?
Yeah, he used to own Hypnotic, yeah.
What?
Yeah, we used to cook food together back in college, you know, fought a bit, you know, been in a couple of bar fights and all the other great stuff.
Okay.
And I call him up and I say, hey, you know, Jim, you know, you still in the, you know, the alcohol business? He's a you still cook, you know? And I asked him like, hey, how can I, you know, I told him my dilemma and I want to get like maybe about 6 cases. He goes, put a cork in it. I'm going to be down there not in a couple of months. I'll bring it up. I'm going to be going to Scotland in a couple of months. So would just give it to me and I'll take care of it. Long story short, he brings it to Scotland. They try to duplicate it. They give me 3 samples. There was one I liked. They said, that's perfect. That's the closest one to what you made. I said, I want 6 cases. I had my same military friends over and it was Laz and Pete Moreno. They had 2 guys who talk like this, typical Miami guys, you know? Bro, so they're like, bro, this is some good juice, bro. Let me get a bottle. I'm like, no, you can't have it. It's all I got. Yo, I'll buy a bottle. I'll buy it. I'm like, it's not for sale. This is all I have. And I didn't charge you for dinner, so I'm not going to charge you for this. And for the next 48 hours, those 2 guys were like, bro, you need to sell that. You need to get this out on the market. You know what I'm saying? And I was like, all right. So I called up my future business partner. I asked him what he thought about it. And he says, like, I'm drinking it right now. It's pretty good. I'm like, glad I paid for a bottle. And I asked him, like, if I wanted to go into business, how would I do that? And he'd go, you'd have to ally or partner yourself with someone who knows the business because it's a very difficult business to get into. I go, you know anyone in particular? And here we are now, like a couple of years later. So that's the long story. There's no way to make that short. I think I'm 8 or 9 awards later. And I'm Yeah. We only
Just a second. I want to get into the awards momentarily. I
okay.
wanted to make sure we had a foundation for you, for the audience to know who you are and how you came about getting into the business. I think you did a beautiful, entertaining job of telling them the story. So
Yeah.
now I would like for Kevin and I to pour your wonderful spirit. And here we go.
There we
Um,
go.
while we're going, I do have a question. So how long has it been now since for like the official business till today?
Okay. Well, first of all, you need a blade to cut that. You know,
Ah, I see.
Yeah.
Thank you for telling me that.
we started this post-COVID. Well, I started like, sampling, scotches, and I got into scotches about 2013 is when I started drinking scotch, something along those lines. We came out with two test runs, probably about 2020 to 21. And we've been out in the market so we've been out for unofficially since I would say about 2021, officially for about since 22.
Okay.
And we're now located in New York, New York, DC, Maryland. We're going to be in Delaware, I believe, soon. We're in New York, New Jersey area, South Carolina, Atlanta, Georgia. We've been approved for Florida, and we've been approved for California. We should be available in California by the next couple of weeks. We're in Texas. So we're slowly spreading. I'm trying to hit those, specific cities that I think I'm going to do pretty well in.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So where you based out of now?
I live in Miami. I am in New York, but we are based out of South Carolina, Charleston.
Okay. Okay.
Okay. This is a very good
taste. It like one of the things that you'll pick up on it. It's a Highland and Speyside blend. It's 43%, 86 proof, slightly smoky, slightly sweet. I wanted to create something that, listen, we're going to do a smoked brisket today for dinner. We're going to smoke a cigar. Do I really need a drink that's going to be so smoky? It's like having a second, a third, or fourth cigar. I wanted something that was going to complement the smoke of those two predecessors as opposed to another full impact. So I wanted something slightly smoky, and that's what you'll taste.
Yes.
So my friends,
and I like to do because this is very viscous.
Thank you. And before we take that sip, we have a little, unfortunately, I can't do it because I don't have a shot in front of me, but we have a little toast in my house. It's my Dominijanni household toast, which now is we do that every time we drink. You take that drink and you look at your friend in the eyes and you say, may you get what you deserve.
May you get what you deserve.
Now, if the person looks at you like, yo, what's your problem? That means you're not dealing with a good person. But if the person's like, hey, brother, may you get what you deserve too, man. Good for you. Then you know you're dealing with a good person. So it's my way to judge a person's character, believe it or not.
Right.
So, gentlemen, may you get what you deserve.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. All right.
So, ladies and gentlemen, let me just start off by saying we are cheating a little bit. We were fortunate enough to have this spirit at the Bowls.
Yes,
all right. At the Black Owned Wine and Spirits Festival where we met Eric at, and man, it was delicious. And again today,
it's delicious.
It is delicious. This is in a very approachable scotch. We have our cigar. We have our ashtray here. After this interview, we will be breaking out the cigars. But we do this. This is my opinion. I'll let Kev give his own. This is excellent for cigars. Not too peaty, not too sweet, not bland. It's very robust, just very flavorful. Man, I really enjoy it. Kev, how about you?
I think it's interesting how before the intro you gave us, this is the taste you're going to get from your spirit compared to the meal you're preparing.
Mm-hmm.
And it normally, in cases, you get that from wine pairings. It's not a lot of scotch or bourbon pairings people do. So you're coming at this, into this field with an interesting outlook that I think that is something that's been missing. But at the same time, I think it's going to be so important. And if it catches on, we're going to give you credit.
Yes.
We'll give you credit.
It is something that people have brought up in the past. Like, how come people don't pair it? And I'm like, I don't know. I think it's usually because, remember when you're drinking a scotch or whiskey or bourbon, especially bourbons, which are like operating at 50% and higher ABV, it's usually something that you have after the meal. But let's be honest, if you're having that, especially with barbecue, Could you not have a barbecued, insert cut of smoked meat? Could you not have a, because then again, most people don't smoke their cigar till after whatever. But imagine you're a bunch of men, you're outside, and I will use this stereotype as men because there's some, there's some truth to stereotypes. And you have a dead animal on the thing that's smoking, and then you have a beautiful piece of meat, and then you have like this beautiful smoky drink and this cigar to go with it. And, they've hit me up and they said, how would you pair your drink? What would you pair it the most? Like, what's the best way to drink that scotch? I go, with good people.
Yes,
That's
exactly.
the number one thing it pairs with. Scotches are events. When you drink scotch, when you get hired or when you get fired, when someone died or someone was born, right? When you got married or you got divorced. This is, this is like, it's an event. It's not just a drink.
Yes. So now, after another sip, Eric, if you could tell us about the awards that you recently won.
Wow. Actually, I've forgotten it quite a bit. So my big ones, I got a double gold. Yeah. I got a double gold for both the New York and the San Francisco World Spirits Competition. And a double gold means everybody on the panel said, on average, it's a gold or above. I got a 9. So otherwise, if the average is a gold, you just get a gold medal. But I got a double gold for those two. I also got a 93 rating for the New York International Spirits Competition. I have a latest ones. I got the Proof Award. I got a gold medal for the double blind tasting, and I got a silver for the when they actually see it and they know what it is. Something like their palate, their nose, and their taste buds were better than their eyes, I guess. Yes. And after that, there's quite a few other ones. I've been in.
Quite a few.
Yes, I think we're at 9 now. But like I said, I can't remember. I've always just going towards the top ones, and we're gonna, one of my biggest things, like to me, my personal award on it is when I look at a person's face when they sip it, especially if the person is Scottish. When they're like, listen, I'm from Scotland. This is good. Yes. That to me means so much. When I find someone who's a Scotch, aficionado, like for example, I'm a CSP and a CSS now, a certified Scotch professional, certified Scotch specialist of spirits. I'm also a WSET 1 for wine. But when you see that person who knows what they're talking about and they really enjoy Scotches and they go, listen, I drink this, insert name of high-end Scotch. This is good. Yes. And it means so much to see that and to hear it.
Yes, it is truly, from my opinion, we're going to let Kev give his opinion on what you think of the spirit.
I think it's great. I love the color. I love the legs. The taste. I think I wish you wouldn't have, if you wouldn't have gave us that powerful intro going into it, I would probably have said something like that. Like you said, a good rack of ribs or, sitting outside, we got the grill going, cigars going, and a good bottle in the middle with the conversation. And it just adds to the enjoyment of the moment. So yeah, that's what this is. Like, and this was like one of the first, we was like,
yes,
when we at the Bowls Fest, when we met you, we were like, this is at the top. This is at the top. This is at the top. This is at the top.
I had read several things, but I hadn't tasted it.
Right. So it's no, I really like it. And I wish you wasn't here so we can give us our, we don't feel like we're just doing this because you were here. But no, I mean,
it's like I said, if you didn't like it, so
no, the color's great. And this but I do is this that food pairing. I think that's what I'm really stuck on.
Mm-hmm.
I can see this, like you said, out with a group of people, men and women. We're not going to exclude the ladies here. Yeah, and that's.
One thing I will say about that lady comment is, because traditionally Scotch was a male drink, quote unquote. And because this is, people that say it's very, very smooth, and which is a big no-no. Apparently, as an official term, you're never supposed to say your Scotch is smooth. And I tell people, like, listen, I didn't bust my butt to create something smooth. This is SMOOVE, smooth. Okay. It's, and I sometimes I really don't care what, the traditional term is, but it is smooth enough where women are enjoying it. They're like, oh, I don't like
Right,
Scotch. It's
right,
too strong.
right,
I'm like,
right.
yeah, look, well, a woman's sense of taste and smell is supposed to be 4 to 6 times better than that of a man. So when we taste something slightly
Yeah.
smoky, they're tasting a charcoal briquette. So I understand why women traditionally didn't drink really peaty, really smoky drinks, and then they went for the more neutral spirits like vodka or white wine or something along those lines. But I can tell you that there's tons of women that have had it's like, oh no, I'm like, just try it. It's free. It's a free taste. And they're like, wow, I was really expecting to be drinking liquid charcoal. And one lady, she described it as it's the flavor is the scent of a marshmallow being roasted over an open fire that is not burnt. And I'm like,
Wow.
whoa, that's
Yeah,
good. That was really, I was quite
yeah,
impressed with her.
Yeah.
And I was like, that's
Yeah.
really good.
Yeah, she pulled one there
Mhm.
for sure. That is that's in the nose for
Yeah.
sure.
Yeah.
It's something on the back end.
I love the back end. It's so comforting.
Yeah, so it's like, in the front, it's like, okay, the front with
It's bold.
another one of his terminologies, it hugs you in the front.
And I've learned something like the way it tastes right now, I could taste it tomorrow to be different, maybe because that's some garlic or something like that.
Right.
And one flavor that pops up quite often, I used to disagree with people. They go, oh, it's chocolatey at the front end. I'm like, no, it is. There's those days where I'm like, it does taste like a mild chocolate. I always had, obviously, caramelly. We know that. That's always in there. People say vanilla notes, smoke. And, everyone's got their thing. And certain days it's appley. You're never supposed to say appley. And the reason is when you say appley or apples, people think that it's an apple whiskey or an apple scotch, which it is not. But there's most of the time I will say I either taste apples at the front note or chocolate at the front, very, very mild. But that goes with what I ate today. I didn't cleanse my mouth properly. It's always one of those two things that pop out at the front.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would definitely go agree with you on just the hint of chocolate. But again, I could see that changing based on what you had that day. Again, Eric, this is amazing. I can't wait to let it open up a little bit. I'm excited for that because right now with a neck pour, this has been really good.
That's good.
Now, I will say that when I first came out with this, my first round of bottles, I was quite unprepared for what was going to be mass produced. And when I cook, I will never serve you anything that I can't brag about. There's times when I cook, I go like, nope, you can't eat this. Well, why not? Nope, because it's not perfect. Okay? You eat the good stuff. I'll eat this for lunch tomorrow. When I created this scotch, I did not know what it was going to be like when I mass produced it. I guess I was, young or just naive, not realizing that 5 parts this, 3 parts this, 2 parts that is the same thing as 500 parts this, 3. It's the same ratio. Now, if you look at the back of the bottle, I put my signature on it. Again, naive. I didn't realize you couldn't see it if it's in black. But after the first round of bottle, I say, I want my name because now that it's been mass produced, I stand behind it. After I did those 2 initial things, and that because I will not produce something that I'm not proud of.
Yeah. So on the back, it does also say veteran owned. And I noticed that something you had on your site is that you donate to veteran causes. Can you speak a little bit on that?
Yeah. We donate to Operation Gratitude. There's a wonderful woman named Carolyn Blazek. She started this organization back when we were going to Operation Iraqi Freedom back in 2003. And me and her developed quite a special relationship over the years because she recognized me from being on television when I went up against Bobby Flay, and she had supported me and my Marines. She supports Marines, Navy, all services, and now it's expanded to first responders, law enforcement, fire department, et cetera, et cetera. And she would send those white boxes. Her and her organization would send these white boxes of, it could be anything from chocolate, letters from kids, puppets, blankets, just about everything. And she supported me and my Marines, as well as, everyone else for about 3 of my tours. And became pretty good friends, and her son is also Marine. He got out. He didn't retire, but he did his time. He got out. And I'm like, I actually cut her a check for $10,000 2 summers ago. And this is my way to say thank you for taking care of not just, the Marine Corps, the Navy, the Army, law enforcement, but also taking care of me. She would call me up and say, "Is there anything you need?" I would be in the middle of a rack and she'd call me up or email me. Email me, excuse me. "Is there anything you need?" And I'm like, "Yeah, can you get me beaded curtains?" "Why? Why beaded curtains?" They're like, "Well, I'm living in an area, there's no AC really, and we got to keep the room open to get the airflow when the flies come in. So the beaded curtains allow the air to flow, but keep the bugs out." She emailed me absolutely anything, that woman. And I'm very grateful to her for what she's helped me out with over the years.
Amazing. Amazing. We appreciate all your time, Eric. We just want to finish this off with, is there anything that you want to say to the generations coming behind you about keeping this tradition of Black-owned scotches moving forward?
Yeah, actually, this is quite a personal one. I've gotten, I'm not going to say gotten hate mail, but, I've gotten some people who had said something like, "Why do you have to put that as Black owned?" Like, why, if I'm white, if I put that on white, there's a white owned scotch or something like that, people are going to say I'm racist. And I said, something? You're absolutely right. And it is a shame that you can't be proud of your heritage, Irish, Scottish, and German. I completely understand. But what's wrong with me putting that as Black owned scotch? You drink Tennessee whiskey. You drink Indian whiskey. You drink Japanese whiskey. So because the reason why that's there in front of it, Tennessee whiskey, or Tennessee bourbon, or Tennessee bourbon or Irish whiskey, is because something about it, there was a standard, and you did something that was out of the ordinary or extraordinary. It's kind of like, and I say it all the time, and it's a stereotype. It's like, the white guy on the basketball courts who's rocking everyone. It's like if you were black on the basketball courts, you'd be like, "So what? A black guy playing basketball. What's the big deal?" Or the Latin guy the Asian guy in a Latin nightclub who can dance better than everyone else. Yo, that guy is a Japanese salsero. Or he's a white rapper. He's like, there's something that separated him from the norm. And that's all I'm doing. I am the first and only Black-owned scotch. I'm the first and only veteran-owned scotch. We apparently are not in this industry. So I jumped over a hurdle. I broke through a barrier. So it's not that you can't be proud of it, but I am the only Black-owned scotch. You know what I mean? I'm only probably the first and only New York-owned scotch. If I could put that down there too, I'd absolutely would do it too. I'm half Italian. Fine. You want to throw that up there too? It's the only Black Italian owned, guy from Queens, owned scotch. Fine. And that's just something I would say. And if you ever want to get into business, this is what everyone asks. It's very difficult. You have to ally yourself with someone in the business. It is a very difficult business to get into by yourself.
Okay. Do you encourage mentorship?
You need it. If you are not open or willing to have a mentor, to have someone, a guardian angel, you will not make it through this business. There's too many hurdles. There's too many nuances. Every state has their own. Oh, man, am I open to being a mentor?
Either or.
Yeah. I do not believe I am knowledgeable enough to be a mentor, but anyone who wants to reach out to me, one of my good friends, he's from Sangarum. Mike, I can never pronounce his last name. Shezwe. He's the first. He's Liberian, so he's African American. Because if you know the history of Liberians, and he was in the army, believe it or not. So I won't say I mentored him, but I gave him some advice, or I steered him in the right direction. Hey, you need to talk to this guy. You need to do this event. So if you ever need advice, people can contact me on my my website is www.fiorscotch.com. That's Fox, India, Oscar, Romeo, Scotch. Or you can reach me at Eric D, ERIC. I'm a C, I'm not a CK, and I'm not a K. I stuck by my C. I don't operate on both sides of the fence. So Eric D at fiorscotch.com. If you have a question, if I can't answer it, I'll just admit that I can't answer it, or maybe I'll put you in the direction of someone who can answer it.
Yes. And ladies and gentlemen, we will put Eric's information on the description below this video. Man, we really appreciate you, Eric, for your time. Ladies and gentlemen, I just want you guys to understand that our mission here is not only to explore the world of adult spirits, we also want to give some bit of shine to those distillers out here working really hard that you don't see getting the commercials, that you don't see getting the major sponsorship by artists and by actors and stuff like that. So we hope that with our platform that we'll be able to show a specific crowd. And I think that's what we specialize in, is that the people who do watch our episodes are serious about whiskey, serious about spirits in general. Yeah. So that's important to us. We're gonna let Eric finish this one. Any parting words, Eric, as we leave?
Gentlemen, may you get what you deserve.
May you get what you deserve.
We're out of here.